Hello everyone, photographer Andredesignz here with a new retouch video, and today I'll be editing your images. And it's loading. Good. So I am going to we have a lot of work to do with this image. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do now is to crop the image as usual. So I'm going to go to the crop tool. Then I think I'm going to crop it to about right here. I crop all my images, so forgive me if you have a problem with me cropping your images, but yeah, I crop all my images all the time. So what I'm going to do now is to, you know what, let's look at the settings that he used for this image. Alright, so it's a Canon 60D as well. He was using a 70-300mm lens. I was shooting at 1/125 of a second, f7.1, 100 for the ISO. Alright, so let's get right to the editing. First thing I'm gonna do is to remove the pimples. So I'm gonna go to the frequency separation. Then I'm going to go to the top layer, high frequency layer, press S on the keyboard, and I'm just going to remove the pimples from the skin. Alright, so this is not working for me. Alright, so I'm not going to use frequency separation for that. I'm just going to use the image itself. So I'm going to Control J to duplicate the layer. I'm just going to use my patch tool and remove the pimples. Don't have much, which is good, so that means I should edit this image pretty fast. I think I just removed one of her mold, but it wasn't that visible. Alright, so for right here now, I'm just gonna make a big selection. And then let me just pull this down and see what it looks like right here. Let me see something. Alright, that was a good one. I'm gonna get my clone stamp tool and I'm just gonna Control D to deselect. You know what? No. Not gonna do that. This is how I edit. Trust me, this is how I edit. I delete and I go back over. So I'm going to use my mixer brush and I'm going to mix right here. What's happening now? Oh, I'm not on the mixer brush, so M. So I'm just going to flatten the area that has the eyebrow here. Then I'm going to get my patch tool by pressing J on the keyboard, or you can just go over here where the healing brush is and the patch tool is right there. And I'm just going to take out the extra here. Sorry, need to go on the high frequency layer. So I'm just dragging it to a clean area. Let me see if I can pull this down here. Alright. That looks good. I'm just gonna zoom out a little bit so I can see exactly what I'm doing. See if I'm doing it properly. Just gonna come back up here and do a selection again and then pull it down. Alright. Alright, so I have a big patch right here. Let me just go back. Alright. Gonna go back down to my low frequency layer again, and I'm just gonna try to, you know, blend out here a little bit more. Alright, that looks better than what it was before, so let's look at it before and after. Alright, so over this side we need to get back some of this color here, so let me just sample from right here and paint it back in. I need to go to the clone stamp, sample by holding on Alt and paint back this area. Alright, let's look at it before and after for that. Before, after, I think I went overboard a little bit, so let me just go back right there, maybe about right there, should be good. For this part, I'm going to sample, wait, let me come up to the high frequency layer. I'm just going to cover right here. I don't think I need to do any mixing over this side. It's not too visible. Let me just zoom up a little bit more. Sample right here and then just paint. I keep on doing it on the low frequency layer, don't know why. My Photoshop is giving me a hard time. I should be on the clone stamp tool and it's jumping. Alright, so I'm gonna come clone stamp, sample right here. Oh, and I'm still on the low frequency layer. Oh my goodness. Alright, so that's not going to work out for me. Let me go back to the I'm gonna do mixer brush again, mixer brush, and I'm just gonna flatten it right here. I was trying to see if I could just use the clone stamp only, but nah, it's not gonna work. Then I'm gonna go to the high frequency layer, then click hold on J or press J and just remove the extra here. Sometimes when you start with one method, just continue with it, because you see what will happen. You try to do a shortcut and it does not work. Alright, so this actually is working, so I learned my lesson. Just stick with one method. Alright, so that looks good. I'm going to go down to the low frequency layer, press M on the keyboard for my mixer brush again. I'm just going to blend it out a little bit. Alright, that looks good. So let's look at it before and after for everything. Before and after. Good. So I am going to do some more mixing, but guess what? I am not going to use this. I'm going to create a new frequency separation layer. So I'm going to write done, rename that and call it done. I'm going to go to the low frequency, go to the background layer and press frequency separation again. Then I'm going to hold down the frequency separation and drag it to the top. Right here, yeah. Then I'm going to go down to the low frequency layer and I'm going to mix the entire face. Alright, so I'm going to go to the light area. Try not to mix on the model's moles. And if you ever go over the moles, what you have to do is to just put them back in, basically. There's sometimes that you just have to mix the mold. looks good. Okay, let's look at the before and after for everything. Before, after. So I'm going to continue removing loose hair from the model's face. So I'm going to go back to the top frequency layer and then press S on the keyboard for the clone stamp tool. I'm just going to sample right next to the hair and remove it. Alright, so all the loose hair, I'm just going to remove them. So I'm sampling close to the model's, close to the hair that I want to remove. Alright. Alright, that's about it for that section, so I'm going to just do right here as well. Normally when I'm working with a model in studio and I see like loose hair, I normally fix it because I know that in post, you know, it's going to be a lot of work. So I try to fix everything on set before I show the images, because I want to do less editing. So yeah. So I'm still coming down here making some little adjustments to the image itself. Alright. Oh, right here as well. Perfect. Alright, so we have to remove here as well. Oh my. Alright. I'm stretching. Alright, so I'm going to let's see how I'm going to approach this section here. I could, you know what, I'm going to create a new, so I'm going to say done. I'm going to create a new frequency separation layer again. And put it to the top. The shortcut to put it to the top is Alt Shift right bracket. Alright. Alright, so how should I approach this now? I'm gonna try doing the patch tool, which I know it won't work, but I'm just gonna patch right here. Then I'm gonna drag it down. I'm gonna keep selecting and I'm gonna drag it, go down to the low frequency layer. I'm gonna drag it down as well. So that did not do, let me Control D and see what it looks like. I wonder if I could fix this up. I wonder if I could fix this up a little bit. Let's see. Oh, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I am going to crop the image more. Less work. You have to be smart. So I'm just going to crop the image. Ta-da! I'm done. Less work. Most times I crop my images because of that. So now all I need to do now is to create a new frequency separation action. Layer, and then start again. So remember guys, if you're not comfortable with what you've done so far, do not merge the entire layer. I enjoy merging my layers. I just think Photoshop works better when it has less layers to deal with. So please don't do this, but I love to do this. I love to merge my layers and start something new because I'm comfortable with what I've done so far. Alright, so go down to the low frequency layer and press M on the keyboard again for the mixer brush. And then I'm just going to mix the areas. I want to have mix. Gonna mix the hand. Alright, right here. Alright, that looks good. Let me just mix right here as well. This time I'm actually going from the dark area to the light area because it's not too dark, so I can do that. Good. I'm going to go to the high frequency layer, press S on the keyboard for the clone stamp, and I'm going to remove this pimple. Just going to zoom up some more and see if I see any more pimples that needs to be removed. So guys, don't spend a lot of time on an image. If you realize that there's things you need to remove and it's hard to remove, if you can crop it out. The only difference is that if you're working with a client and they want certain things in the image, you know you cannot crop it out. This is why I try to do a lot of personal projects so I can just do whatever I want to. Yeah. And I'll just fix things in onset so I don't have issues. So always don't be afraid to fix the hair. Try to have the makeup artist fix the hair or the model fix the hair and remove things from the face. You have to remember that when you're sitting down to edit, it can take a long time if you do not remove things from the model's face in onset before coming. Do not have the mindset that, hey, you know what, I'm going to fix this in Photoshop. No. Fix it on set first so you have less editing. Especially if you have a lot of images to work on. Alright, that looks good. Alright, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to work on the model's nail because I realized that the nail was actually growing out. So we're going to fix those. What we're going to do now is to create like a new layer. I'm going to create a new layer right there. Get the brush, and then I'm going to sample. The brush is at 30% right now. Let's see if that can work for the flow. So I'm going to sample right here by holding on Alt, and then I'm just going to paint. I think I need to come in some more. Just going to paint. Just take my time and paint. Alright, that looks okay. Alright, let me zoom out now and see what it looks like. So that looks real. Alright, good. So I'm going to do another layer. I'm not going to use the same one. I'm going to do the same thing. Oh, you know what? Let me go back down to this one, and I'm going to fix right here as well. So I'm going to sample. Good. I'm going to go back to the top one. I'm going to work on this one. Just take my time. This one is a little bit brighter. So because of that, I'm just going to brush everything in. Let me zoom out and see what it looks like. I'm going to lower my opacity a little bit. Be about right there. And I'm going to paint some more. Yeah, that looks good. So I'm going to create another one. Do a sample again. just paint. Alright, that looks okay. Then another one, sample and paint. Good. So I'm done with the nails. Let's look at the before and after. I'm going to create a group. I'm just going to highlight everything by hold on shift. Press the first one and then the last one, then Control G. I'm just going to call this nail. Can't spell nails. Nails. Alright, good. So the next step now is to do some dodge and burning. So I'm going to come up here to the dodge first. Actually, I don't think I need to do any dodging. So I'm not gonna do any dodging, but I'm gonna do burning though. So I'm gonna press B on the keyboard for the brush, ensure that my brush is at 1% for the flow, and I'm just gonna brush the shadows area, in the dark areas. Just to give it a dimension, you know, a little bit more detail. Alright, that's it. I think I might need to do some dodging. I see. Like right under the eye here, I need to brighten it up a little bit. And right here as well, just a little bit. And right here. And look how I'm saying that I don't need to do any dodging. Alright, that looks good. So, right here. I'm going to color the image now. So I'm going to go to the color, what's that called? Camera raw. So I'm going to create a new layer. Control Alt E, Control Shift Alt E, Control J to duplicate. Then I'm going to go up here to camera raw, under filter, and I'm going to, let me click auto and see what it looks like. Okay, auto will brighten the image, which I don't need it to be brightened, but I'm going to go to shadow. I'm going to pull up the shadows a little bit so I can get some highlight in the hair. Then I'm going to go to dehaze a little bit, then contrast. That looks good. Then add some vibrance. Alright, so I think I'm done with that. So I'm going to click OK. So before, after. So let me zoom up on the image a little bit. I think I need to remove this tray here from right here. I'm going to remove this by doing content aware. So I'm going to go to the, I'm going to press L for the lasso tool. I'm just going to make a selection right here. Come right. Then I'm going to press Shift backspace for content aware. Loading. It is loading. Alright, so content aware did nothing really. So I'm going to get the clone stamp tool. And I'm just going to wait. Clone stamp tool at 100% is not going to work for the flow, so I'm going to put it at 13 and just, that's not going to work either. So I'm going to go with the J for the patch tool. I'm just going to patch it. Alright, something is happening right here, so I'm just gonna back up a little bit. Some more. Just gonna come in a little bit closer. Let's see what I could do. So you see, when you're rushing, you're gonna miss these things. So you have to just take your time. just pull this down here. Alright, I'm done. So I'm going to pull this up here and see what's happening. That looks okay. I think I may able to just patch right here a little bit like that. Alright, so I am done with that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to ensure that the moles are highlighted. So I'm going to go back to shadows. Well, what am I talking about, shadows? I'm going to go to create a new layer, and then I'm going to get the brush. I'm going to put my flow at 100%. I'm going to select black, and then I'm just going to, you know what, I'm not going to select black. I'm just going to sample from the mole itself. Alright, find all the moles and just I have to just undo that just now because I think that is it for the moles. Good. So what I'm going to do now is to lower my opacity to about 50%, or 64 is good. Yeah, that's it. So the next step now is to color the image. And to color the image, what we're going to do is go to blue. That's the 5% blue. Do I like the 5% blue? I actually don't. Actually, it works, but I think I need a little bit more vibrance in it. Let me go to vibrance and see. And then add some more contrast to it. Again, where's contrast? Contrast is somewhere right. Did I pass? Oh, brightness and contrast. I don't know why I took so long to find it. Right there. Good. So that's it for the image. I'm just going to save it now. I'm just going to merge everything. And I'm going to press save from file, save. Go over to Lightroom, and that's the before, that's the after. Before, after.